High-altitude winter mountaineering on the 8,000-meter peaks of the Himalaya is brutal and unforgiving. Failure is the least of a climber's worries. We have historic news from this week from winter summits on Manaslu. It's a great interview with Angela Benavides of Explorers Web. Stick around. In winter, bitter cold temperatures and battering winds make everything not only difficult but damn near impossible. Jerzy Kukuczka and Krzysztof Walecki are two who come to mind, Polish climbers who put winter mountaineering on the map. Men amongst men who weren't out for notoriety or fame or fortune. They climbed because it was in their blood. A new and emerging generation of talented high-altitude winter mountaineers has just this week made the scene with a successful Ascent of Manaslu in true winter on January 6th by Alex Txikon and 6 Sherpas. But on Dhaulagiri, 2 German climbers are enduring a sufferfest of sufferfests, waiting out deplorable conditions. What else does winter bring you on the 8,000-meter peaks? And on Cho-Oyu, a Sherpa team and 2 women have retreated from the mountain due to unforgiving conditions there. It's the usual hell of winter high-altitude mountaineering, and I have an interview with Angela Benavides of Explorers Web. Angela has been following and reporting on all of these stories throughout the 8,000-meter peaks and the winter mountaineering. The links will be in the notes. Before we jump to the interview, I need you to hit that subscribe button. This is a growing community, and I want you to be a part of it. And also, I want to tell you very briefly about the sponsor of this video, Musa Masala. They're an educational nonprofit dedicated to safe, healthy, and culturally aware mountain travel. At Musa Masala, projects include supporting the Wangchu Sherpa Memorial Hospital in Nepal with funding and a twice-yearly free dental camp for everyone in the area of the hospital. They also provide 2 scholarships a year for nursing and tech degrees for local students. Amazing. Musa Masala also sponsors a yearly climbing competition in Kathmandu to help grow the sport of climbing for Nepali people. Check out their website for their educational materials used by climbing companies, schools, medical groups, and individuals to promote safe outdoor activities. That link will be in the notes of this video. Okay, Angela Benavides, a journalist from Explorers Web, based in Madrid. Amazing, talented, passionate writer. This is the source for all things 8,000-meter peaks. She has updates from the winter ascent of Manaslu, as well as the struggles on Dhaulagiri and Cho-Oyu. Stick around to the end so I can share with you some pertinent 8,000-meter peak information about a new expedition that is being put together by an all-female team in Peru. As well, we're going to suggest a video that I know you're going to want to watch. Okay, Angela and I started off our conversation with her telling me about the historic winter ascent of Manaslu, the who, what, and the where. Here's Angela.
It was the Manaslu team, Alex Txikon from the Basque Country in Spain, and 6 Nepali climbers. 2 of them are regular mates of Alex. It's Chepal Sherpa and Pasang Nurbu. And there was 4 other young climbers, actually quite young. The names was Tenjian. Tenjian is also a regular in Alex Txikon's expeditions. Ming Temba Sherpa, Pemba Tashit, they call it Maila, and Jialu Sherpa, right? So these 7 people summited Manaslu on the 6th of January. And I say it was unexpected because it was a surprise even for them. They set up from base camp on the 4th of January, hoping to get as far as possible. They reached Camp 2, then they reached Camp 3. The winds were slowing down a little bit. Conditions were far from perfect, but well, they made a decision, say, okay, let's keep going up and see if we can get to the summit. And hey, it worked. They went to the summit, so it was great, right? There's been some debate. There's usually some debate about the style, the methods, and also, I don't know if you heard about the old debate about the winter dates. What is real winter in the Himalayas, right?
Yeah.
So the debate about style is that Alex used no supplementary oxygen. The Nepalese did. Of course, they are professional. all the Nepalese, but they are also good friends. And the fact is that the Sherpas were carrying oxygen on the summit day. You know, oxygen is especially important in winter because the risk of frostbite is very high, and the difference between having this supplementary oxygen support or not having it. And then again, there's going to be another related debate, which is quite interesting, about whether the previous expeditions, there's been 5 teams, 4 teams before, and Txikon is the 5th expedition that summits Manaslu in what is called the Himalayan winter season. Right? In Asia, the winter season is what we call the meteorological winter. It starts on the 1st of December. It ends on the 28th, 29th of February. Many expeditions believe that no matter the season, winter is winter, and it corresponds to calendar winter in the Northern Hemisphere, which is, it starts with the winter solstice and 21st, 22nd of December. Simone Moro believes that this is true, but he understands that in order to be labeled as a pure winter expedition, the team cannot set farther up from base camp before the 21st, 22nd of December. The first team who climbed Manaslu, it was an amazing expedition. It was one of the Polish expeditions from the Winter Master. They climbed the mountain from the south side. They followed the Mesna route in terrible conditions. It was back in 1984. Things were very different. Equipment was very different. Weather forecasts were useless, so to say, right? And the Poles reached the summit on the 12th of January, which is winter, whatever you look at it. But some might say that they started the expedition before the 21st of December.
Real quick, not to go too extensive on it, it's been a tough winter season. So we know that it's been difficult on Dhaulagiri and Cho-Oyu, where there's not been real good success there. Any success in the winter is pretty notable.
You know, this season, what we have is the jet stream has been low most of the time. That means hurricane force wind. But nearly all winters are like that, right? And there's quite a lot of winter season ahead. What we have is 2 very different teams, 3 different teams, each with their own style, and each was different, right? We have Txikon with this mixed style, traditional, with young Nepalese on oxygen. He was without oxygen. Simone Moro was going to climb without oxygen as well. It's just that he had some health problems, and he turned around during the summit push. And then we have David Göttler from Germany and Hervé Vermaas from Italy. They own Dhaulagiri. They're still there. They're in base camp waiting out the gale and hoping for a chance to climb Dhaulagiri in alpine style. I mean, that is the best of the best, right? And of course, it's the most difficult. But the thing is that sometimes we lose the point, and with all these massive Himalayan expeditions, crowded mountains, we tend to think that reaching the summit is easy. Well, that depends on style. No summit is easy. Nothing is easy in winter. And climbing an 8,000 alpine style with minimalistic gear, they only are going to have one little tent that they will pitch every night and retrieve. They are absolutely determined to leave no trace on the mountain. No gear, no ropes, no tents, nothing. It's extremely difficult. Their options are close to nil. But that's the beauty of it. They intend to remain on the mountain for 20 more days. I think it was more or less.
Wow.
In that time, if the wind goes down and they see a chance, they going up, single push. Just go up from base camp to summit as long as it takes. They hope to be there in 3 days. And finally, we had an expedition on Cho-Oyu with a very interesting goal. They want to open a new route, which is very cool. They want to open a new route and exploit it commercially, like they not in winter, but in the peak season. because the Nepalese want to have a route to Cho-Oyu on the Nepalese side of the mountain. Right now, the normal route on Cho-Oyu is in Tibet, in China. So it's always tricky, right? So China has been closed due to COVID for 2 years. It's always unpredictable, and the Nepalese they want to have a route to an 8,000 so they can exploit it commercially. Of course, they have a right to make the best out of the tourism industry. But then there were two young female climbers. One of them wants to be the youngest 48,000 summiter. The other one, Kristin Harila from Norway, intends to break Nimal Puja's speed record. I don't like to speak of records on 8,000ers, but they had good reasons to be there and climb Cho-Oyu as soon as possible. But conditions are tough. The latest news I've got is that the expedition retreated to Kathmandu. Harila returned to Norway. She's back at home. And they say they might return to the mountain at the end of the month if the wind goes down. But these people are not going to stay there a couple of days. They're going to stay back in town for 3 weeks.
Wow.
So I don't know the impact it will have on their acclimatization, on the motivation, and on the physical endurance to cold, right? Because when they go back, they're going to be at the end of January. That's the dead of winter, and it's going to be extremely cold. And, that route on Cho-Oyu, they still have a lot to go. And the most difficult part is the upper part of the mountain. No one has been there before, so they don't really know what they're going to find and how they're going to climb it. So it's a huge task ahead if they return.
Winter ascents, by any regard, are incredible accomplishments, and it's my personal belief that a summit in winter does not need to have the expedition actually begin in true winter in order for that to be a legitimate all-winter ascent. Just my personal experience. The people who will really decide that are the climbers that come in the future to attempt these things. But really what it gets down to is, in coming years, what will expeditions do to try to be noted as a pure winter style ascent? We'll only know as time goes on. Okay, so before I bounce, I want to tell you about an exciting expedition by one of my guests, Flor Cuenca of Peru. I brought you an interview with her from K2 and also from Manaslu, and she's forming Peru's first all-female 8,000-meter peak expedition. It's a trip to Gasherbrum 2. The fundraising in Peru is basically, you could say, like winter mountaineering on the 8,000-meter peaks. Any help that her team can get would be awesome. So I'm going to put a link to Flor's GoFundMe page in the notes. Please take a look at it. See if it's something that you'd be interested in helping with. They are raising their money grassroots. There's no sponsored climbers in this whatsoever. This are people who want to go climbing in the 8,000-meter peaks and raise their own money to do it. Pure style, man. This is what it's all about. So thank you, Angela from Explorers Web. We will keep our eye on Explorers Web for more news from Dhaulagiri and Cho-Oyu. In the meantime, what do you think? Leave me a comment in the notes below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, do good things, be well, and peace out, my friends.